Hello, my darling, and welcome to darlings for a start, but welcome to episode 15 of the Uncomplicated Perimenopause Podcast. My name is Kate Grosvenor. I'm a perimenopause expert and life coach.
And I'm Gabriella Grosvenor, Kate's daughter, here to learn with you all.
And as always, we'll probably talk about absolutely nothing of relevance before we start. We have to feel sorry for Gabriella today because she's ever so poorly, but the trooper is here. She's here, but she's all snotty.
Yeah, so please ignore my croaky voice.
And she's all wrapped up warm because she's ever so poorly.
I've heard it's warm outside.
It's glorious.
People have told me
I think, was it last episode or the episode before we were complaining that it was autumn?
Yeah.
And now it's beautiful weather.
I can't feel it. I literally went outside and I'm like, I'm really cold.
I know,
my little sister was like, what? It's nice and sunny.
So I think she's actually sunbathing.
Yeah, she is.
Your little sister. She's 19. She's always going to be your
baby.
Well, she's always going to be your little sister, isn't she? So whether she likes it or not, and not is the question. She's like, I'm 19. So please forgive you. You're all snotty side out.
Thanks. I appreciate this.
But yes, we're going to.
We got this. We can do it.
We can do it. Yes. Okay. So, my lovely snotty friend, what is the question for today?
It's from Claire from Leeds.
Claire
from Leeds. So Claire has been to see 2 doctors at her GP recently.
Okay.
Both have been male. Just bear in mind that. And they've both been really unsympathetic towards her and her symptoms with perimenopause. So it's kind of a 2-part question. A, should she request a female doctor instead? And B, do you think, this is a bit controversial perhaps, do you think
Are we going to get cancelled?
Please don't. Do you think that men truly understand what it feels like and can give advice, the advice that she needs?
Oh,
that's a really good one.
That's a really good question, and please don't get us cancelled. Okay. Oh,
I really like that. Yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh. Right. Honest. How honest an answer do we put out here?
Honest enough to not get cancelled, but honest enough to also give her the best advice.
Okay. Ooh. It's like because so I'm on the spectrum, as most people will probably figure out by now, because whatever comes in my mouth whatever comes in my head goes out my mouth. And I have a really bad habit of just telling the truth as it is. So as a life coach, I always encourage my clients to do strength tests and do values tests, and everything always comes up. Honesty is my number one strength, and honesty is my number one value. But it gets me into trouble my entire life. So I have to be really careful on this. Talk amongst yourselves while I figure out, trying to get my brain to reorganise it. Okay, so I'll tell you a story. Instead of telling you the exact answer, I'll tell you a story. Probably about 6 or 7 years ago, before I started going through the perimenopause that I was aware of, I had a client who was in full-blown perimenopause, who I was coaching as a one-to-one client in my life coaching business. And I would love to, at some point, see her and apologise to her. Okay. True story. So, as you know, my life has not been a bed of roses. People sometimes look at me and think, well, it's okay for you.
Yeah, and you have been told that as well.
Yeah. People, they hear the accent.
Yeah.
They see the letters after my name and they think, silver spoon. Yeah. Like, you sit there in your ivory tower, mate, and your life is clearly a bed of roses. And no, it hasn't been. No. So, my life, the way that I coach is always from, I'll get into the trenches with you. I will sit in the mud with you and I will hold your hand and we'll go through it together. Sweet. This is the way I always, right? Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I've either been through it, which is usually the case. So people say to me, I've been morbidly obese. I've been anorexic, more or less, touching on it. I've been diagnosed with diabetic. I've had eating disorders. I grew up with an alcoholic mother. I've been through domestic violence. I've been through my own addictions. I've been through
it's not been easy.
Depression. I've lived around the world. I've been through abuse. I've pretty bankruptcy. I've been through single mum bringing up kids without money. I've pretty much most things that you can come at me with. Yeah. I've twice divorced, crying about not being able to pay bills. I struggle when people come up to me and say, this is how I'm feeling. I go, I understand. Yeah. Right, I get it. I know how it feels. Let me hold your hand and I'll tell you how to get through this. Yeah. And that's how I coach. I never coach from a place of, oh, well, darling, who would be like that? Yeah, I always coach from, I understand, I get it. The reason that I'm telling you this is not because I'm the most fabulous coach on the planet. The reason I'm telling you this is because when I had this client, she was the first client I'd ever coached who was in menopause, perimenopause, and was struggling. And I sympathised with her.
Did you understand at the time?
I thought I did. And this is going to be my point. So she was telling me about her struggles with them changing her patches. She was talking to me about how out of touch and out of love she felt with her husband. Mm-hmm. She was talking to me about the mental health aspects of perimenopause. And I sympathised with her and I gave it my best shot. I thought I did a really good job. And if I met her again now, I'd wrap my arms around her and I'd say, I'm really sorry.
Why?
I don't think I didn't do a good enough job.
Why?
I didn't give her. If I had her again as a client right now, I would move bloody mountains for her. I would get onto my white horse and I would genuinely, I'd strap a sword onto my back and I would go, well, that's just not good enough, because they ran out of her HRT patches and they were fobbing her off with a different type of patch and they were messing her around, and I was kind of giving it, well, darling, you know, they know what they're doing and let's just see how it goes. I'm sure and I was trying to placate her rather than getting on the crusade with her, and that's what she needed. And she is a very sweet woman, she's a very kind woman, she's very even tempered. She needed someone to back her up. She needed someone to fight the good fight with her. And I didn't do that because I didn't understand how desperate she was at the time, because I didn't understand how it felt. And I coached her really well, I think, and I made a difference to her life, and we worked on different areas really, really well. But when it came to helping her and be a champion of perimenopause with her, honestly, we put my hand on my heart and say, I don't think I did a good enough job. And the reason I didn't do a good enough job is because I didn't get how it felt on the inside, and I really feel bad for that. And I've thought off and on about her. It's very rare that I will turn around to you and say, if I could go back in time, I would do a client differently, because I know how many lives I've changed. This is this is me talking the truth, you know, as it is. I know how many lives I've changed, and I know how many clients will turn around to me and say, because of you, this is what's changed my life, because of you. And I get messages all the time from women every day saying, you know, I genuinely believe I have the best job in the world. And you see my messages and how many women will say thank you and my life is different.
And you've saved my marriage, and some beautiful, beautiful ones.
Yeah. And I genuinely believe I have the best job, and I'm so fortunate to be able to do what I do and be allowed to do what I do, and I'm very grateful for it. But that is one client I would say, hand on my heart, I wish I could go back and say to her, I wish I'd known more. It's not that I was negligent. It's not that I didn't try hard enough. I didn't know enough.
Yeah. Was she dealing with just male doctors?
No. No, she had. She was dealing with a clinic locally, and she was given support by other people, but she didn't have enough understanding of. She didn't have enough people fighting for her side. Whereas now I know. Now I'd be like, right, download this, you know, my free tracker. Make sure that no, that's not good enough. They're fobbing you off. Go and see this. And she got the help, but she didn't have enough oomph behind her. She didn't have the understanding that I didn't give it to her because I didn't know. So it wasn't that I was negligent, it was like I didn't understand how it felt. So in answer to the question from, who was it, Claire? In answer to Claire's question, this is really controversial, but I believe that male doctors, I mean, like, obviously are excellent, and they can give you all the advice on hormones. They can tell you how your body works as a woman. They can give you all the advice. They can give you everything to do with hormones and everything else. Can they tell you how it feels?
Yeah.
No.
I get you.
And because, and you know, I'm at risk of being cancelled, can they tell you how it feels?
Truly, no.
No.
It's not their fault. They don't.
And this is my point. That, you know, I can't explain to you as a woman, as a young woman, right? So you, bless your heart, have endometriosis. Okay, you can explain to a boyfriend, or you can explain to a male friend what endometriosis feels like, what period pains feels like. You can, you know, if somebody has reasonable medical knowledge, for example, what happens to a woman's body when they go through a period, they could physically they could mentally understand kind of pain, but you'd have to say to them, well, you know, when you have like pain when you have diarrhea and you feel that kind of cramp, well, imagine that would, and you'd have to try and say it feels, imagine that you had this kind of pain and then you moved that pain to this part of your body, and then it was like not just for 5 minutes before you went to the loo, it was and you'd have to try and get them to imagine this plus this plus this plus this plus this, but then imagine that you can't sleep because of this and this and this, so then, and you'd have to try and get them to kind of piece it all together, and then say, and that happens for 4 days out the month, or 5 days out the month, and then on top of that, imagine that you had food poison, and then, do you know what I mean, and you're asking someone to put themselves in a situation where they have this symptom plus this symptom plus this, right? And then, so imagine all that, and you have it 12 times a year. And it's never ending. And on top of that, you may have problems with fertility, and you may have, and so you're asking them to put together this mental kind of picture, all these different symptoms, plus mental symptoms, plus mental health symptoms, plus lack of sleep, plus, and it's like, how does that feel?
Even in perimenopause, I'm not in that stage yet. And I'm getting it. I'm learning with everybody else, and you're teaching me a lot, but I still won't get it until I'm in that stage fully.
I mean, you're submerged in my world where we talk about it, and so you're more knowledgeable than I would say 99.9% of 24-year-olds.
I'm really proud of that.
Yay to represent the millennials, right? But
I'm a Gen Z.
Are you a Gen Z?
Yes.
Oh.
And I don't act like it, but I'm a Gen Z.
Okay, bless. Okay, anyway, but you're more knowledgeable than the vast majority, and because you already have kind of gynae issues going on, you would already naturally empathise, but you can't imagine the mental health side. Now, we can talk about the symptoms of perimenopause as in the night sweats, which are just altering bamboo. I'm going to say it again. I've got to say it every episode. It wouldn't be an episode without me saying bamboo pajamas, would it?
Because it really is the secret. It's not even...
I didn't show you. Sorry, I digress. We've got the most beautiful bamboo... Sorry, I've just gone off on one. We've got the most beautiful bamboo kind of long-sleeved, kind of like high-neck, turtleneck. Oh, gorgeous. Oh, gorgeous for winter.
Okay.
Like, they're in there without to put on blazer. I know, they're like turtleneck black, long sleeved, really slinky. They just look great with pajamas.
I'm going out on Thursday. Can I have one?
Yeah. You'll love them. They're gorgeous. Anyway, bamboo for the win, as always. But night sweats will really disrupt you. But you could understand night sweats if you've had food poison. You can understand night sweats. But it's the mental health thing. It's how it feels that I think unless you've gone through it, I just don't think anyone could get it. The thing about perimenopause is the dead inside.
That makes me... I hear that a lot, and it saddens my heart.
Honestly, it's like... And it's the one thing women feel guilty. It's the one thing that if I could wave a magic wand and take it away from women, it's the one thing I would remove. So if somebody said to me, right, you're a fairy godmother, I mean, why not, you know?
You are, in a sense.
In a weird way. But if somebody says to me, right, okay, you're the fairy godmother and you get one wish for women, you get to remove one perimenopause symptom.
That's a good one.
Yeah, right? If I get to remove one perimenopause symptom, which one would it be? I think it would be the dead inside one, because you feel so guilty. So, for example, let's say you're married or you're in a long-term relationship. You lose your libido. Okay, and then you feel... But the thing is, you feel really guilty because you still love that person. But if they wanted to approach you and have sex or be intimate, you just literally can't. You love them and you look at them and you go, this is a person that I love, but I also, if you come near me, I will stab you.
Yeah.
And it's awful because you feel like they're looking at you and they know that you don't want to be intimate with them.
Yeah. But it's not a personal
But it's
thing
not
at all,
personal, but it's the most personal thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you with me? It's the most personal thing because it's like, I don't want to have sex with you.
Is that actually how it feels?
Yeah. Like, I don't want to be anywhere near you.
Okay.
Because I'm dead inside.
Yeah. But you don't feel that way towards anyone. Like, you'd still feel that way towards everyone else, any other man.
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Because I haven't, like...
Yeah.
I'm not... No offence, I'm not going around being...
No. No, I know. It's just.
But do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, but I love you. Yeah. With all of my heart. Mm-hmm. But I'm just dead. Yeah. Like I am just switched off.
Is this where this might be also a bit? Is this where when affairs happen and stuff?
Some women have actually told me, and this is an area of research that I'm actually going into because this is what I do. This is who I am. And this is why I'm looking at dosages of things like maca root. So, I'm bringing out my own range of vitamins, shameless plug. I'm looking at things like what are the maximum doses of maca root, looking at the uses of female testosterone to improve libido. But women have actually told me, now they get this one for sad. I'm going off track a little bit, Claire, just bear with me. Women have actually told me that they felt like they want to have an affair to test whether it's actually their libido is completely gone or whether it's just their libido with the husband.
Wow. Okay.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
That's the level of, is it just I've lost my libido completely, or is it my libido in my long-term relationship?
And I kind of get that.
Yeah, but how sad is that? Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Yeah. And that's probably why men also have
and then
affairs.
They feel rejected. So men will go around thinking, well, if she's never going to want to have sex with me again, because then men will be thinking, well, is this coming back?
Yeah, yeah.
Give me the answer.
Yeah.
And women are like, how would I know? Yeah. How would I know that question? Right now, I feel dead. And women won't be able to voice this, but then I feel dead and I feel guilty. I feel awful guilty. Like women will tell me, I feel like I'm the worst person on the world. Yeah. Like I feel like I'm a horrible human because I see the pain in his eyes and I've done that, but it's not my fault. But I feel like it's my fault. Mm-hmm. Like how horrid a human am I? And they'll tell me these things and they look to me and say, what's the answer? And I go, I don't know. Because I don't know if it's coming back for you, darling.
Yeah.
So this is why...
Can it not come back?
It can, and also cannot. Oh, I know. This is why. That's the research. I'm looking at things like...
please carry on that research. I'm curious.
Yes. And this is my next area of research. Because I'm here to be the guinea pig and here to do the research. Because I feel like this is where we need to go next, looking at male testosterone, looking at things like, for people that don't want to go down the HRT route, I'm looking at, looking at the maximum low dose of things like maca root, which can help. And this is what I'm looking at next. Girls got lots to do.
Yeah, you do. To take one for the team, though.
Yeah, but we're practicing. Practicing, that sounded really... I don't know where that came from. Yeah. How does a man understand all that? Tell me, how can you take all that emotion and explain it to a man?
So the male doctors focused more on symptoms rather than how you feel.
Symptoms, hormones, how the biology works.
Yeah, rather than the mental.
Yeah, but how do you understand how that soul hurt? Yeah. How do you explain that to a man? That's number one. I feel like I've just done half an hour on that, but it's really important to understand. Yeah. So if you're not getting the HRT aspect, if you're not being heard in terms of the biology, yes, a man can understand that. A man can definitely understand that. If you are struggling psychologically, if you're struggling with the mindset of things, I don't think a man can help you.
It's not their fault.
I'm not blaming them because I'm still wading through it. I've written a book. I've written a best-selling book. I've written journals. I've written workbooks. I've written, and I'm still going through. I help women every day. My whole life revolves around coaching.
You guys.
Yeah, you guys. Hey. But my whole career is helping midlife women with their mindset, with their thinking, with how their thinking is ordered or disordered, or helping them rewire their thinking and become more positive. And it's my entire career. So how could a male GP who is, when perimenopause is not mandatory training, and they certainly don't have to go back and relearn the latest thinking or relearn the latest.
That's a different.
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast.
No, that's something.
So you can't expect them to be able to do it. Now, if you're not getting the answers from a male GP, it is your right to go and ask for a female GP. If there isn't a female GP, my favourite people to ask are nurse practitioners. Why?
You've told me they get it.
They get it. If go and find female nurse. Why? Because the nurses are the people that deal with women's body parts. A nurse is the one that's going to give you a smear. Yeah. All right. Since you reach your sexual ages and you go and have a smear, a nurse is the one that's going to be talking to you about your sexual health. Is going to be doing your smears. Is going to be talking to you about contraception. They deal with that every single day of their lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're actually more specialised in that.
I'm sorry, they are. Okay.
Pick up the nurses.
Seriously, and I'm not having a go at GPs. I'm not, honestly. But nurses are the ones that deal with these things. They deal with contraception. They deal with HRT. Like, if you want a real conversation, go and find your senior nurse practitioner, because the chances are they're going to be in their 40s or their 50s. Logically,
that's true.
And then they're going to have these symptoms themselves.
So that's why they'll get it.
So they'll get it.
Because you said that one in particular really helped you, didn't you?
I mean, I've been through everything.
Yeah.
They tested me for everything. I mean, bless their hearts, it was in lockdown, and they tested me and tested me and tested me. And I kept saying, is it hormones? And they were like, no, it can't be hormones. You're too young for all of that. Dear Lord.
You're too young.
No, don't even. Right. And they spent so much money as well, which makes me feel really guilty. Well, ironically. No, ironically it does. But they spent so much testing for this and that, and the immune disorders and Ramsay something syndrome and slapped face and all these weird things. And I went and saw a nurse and said, could it be my hormone? She goes, yeah, probably is. Gave me HRT and that's that.
Wow. Good on her.
And I saw one doctor who said I burst an eardrum. He said I had no eardrum, and she looked at me and went, I can see it. What's he on about? It's like, no. Anyway.
No, why did he think that?
She didn't know. She just went, I don't know. She was like,
that's so random.
Very random. Anyway, so go and ask for a senior nurse practitioner. Don't take no for an answer if you're not getting help, and be your own advocate.
Yeah.
And if you don't get the answers, if you go to your GP surgery and the only options available are middle-aged men who don't have any sympathy for you, go and ask for a referral to your sexual health clinic or your family planning clinic at the hospital. It's worth keeping on going.
And it's easier to see a nurse, isn't it?
It's easier to see a nurse generally. You're more available for appointments. But even if you can't get any luck at your local GP surgery, ask for a referral to the hospital in the local town, whatever
you can ask for the referral yourself.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you have to advocate for yourself, and don't, the thing is that you have to be able to say, this is what I want. I need a referral. I'm sorry. This isn't the answer that I'm looking for. And know your rights. Now, there's nice guidelines, and I say this all the time, nice as in...
Not nice.
Oh, isn't that lovely? Nice as in NICE guidelines.
Which is still how you spell nice.
I know, but the nice guidelines. If you type in nice guidelines from menopause or perimenopause, they come up. And you need to know what your rights are, and it is your right to see a different practitioner.
Oh, so that tells you all your patient rights?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it tells you that after the age of 45, for example, you don't have to be tested for perimenopause and all these kind of things. So yes, go and see somebody else. You do have that. You can do that.
Yeah,
that is okay to do. As I said, a male doctor should be able to prescribe you HRT. Should be able to talk you through HRT. Should be able to talk to you about the biology, the physiological symptoms of perimenopause. But when it comes to the mindset, I mean, not doing a shameless plug for our perimenopause membership, but that's what that kind of thing is there for. That's why we have things like the perimenopause membership, because we talk all the time about, you'll see, because we have a Facebook group that goes with it, and somebody will say, I saw a comment yesterday from one of our lovely members saying, why is it okay that my husband gets to, for example, shout out, I'm not going to say the member because obviously that's confidential, but why is it okay for my husband to complain when he's in a bad mood, but if I complain it becomes a problem? And then some of the other women will say, well, my husband does the same, and somebody else will say, so it's a place where women feel safe to say, is it okay if, or I've had this symptom today, has anybody else had that?
Always answer straight away.
And and everybody will be there loving and supporting on each other, plus the resources, plus the mindset stuff. And that's the point. Women supporting other women is a thing of beauty, because we get it.
Yeah. And literally, I don't know what to say, but
Yeah. And I think that's always the point with the mindset stuff. I know I didn't get it until I started going through it. And for that, I feel I wish I had done. And if I ever see her, I will say to her, I'm really sorry that I didn't get it. It wasn't through anything other than
knowledge.
Just an inability to understand at that point. Have I answered the question? I've forgotten what the question was now.
Yeah, about male doctors. Okay. And do they understand?
No, they don't understand.
And should she request a female instead? So yeah, you did actually answer it well.
I just thought, I was just going, oh no, I just hope I haven't gone off on one. So as always, if you have any questions, please do let us know. Gabriella, Gabriella and I are always here. Sorry, my brain. Gabriella and I are always here to answer your questions and do our best to make sure that this chapter in your life is as uncomplicated as possible. Take care, my darlings, and we will speak to you next week. Bye.